So if you're familiar with C-Suite for Christ, you'll know that one of our favorite questions to ask in large group and in small group is, how's your soul today? I love that question. Not how are you today, not how's the family today. Brother, sister, how's your soul today? We try to take advantage of that. And I got to be honest, the last couple months, from time to time, my soul hasn't been so good. And I'm sure to some degree you can relate. First there was COVID. That was fun. The disease, the uncertainty, the death, the economic calamity, us sheltering in place for 3 months. I'm an extroverted guy with an exclamation mark. Hiding me in my basement for 3.5 months is enough to make me go insane. So that was fun. So the soul was a little troubled at that point. But then the world starts opening up. We start getting out and about again. It's okay to start seeing other people. Yay, we're making progress. But then what started to happen in the last couple months? Joel mentioned this. Gosh, it's hard to watch the news, isn't it? It's hard to stay connected to what's going on. But some of the things that were really weighing on my soul. One, by a show of hands, how many of you know the name George Floyd? Pretty much everybody. What happened to George Floyd was horrible. The unnecessary death, the violence that ensued, all of these things that have come out of that event, that wears on us. That's tough. That makes you question things. That makes you look at life a little bit different. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever heard of the name David Dorn? A small handful. The whole room should be up, because now what did you happen? First you started having these protests. Wait a minute, I didn't think we were supposed to gather in large groups. Wait a minute, I thought COVID spread. We're standing shoulder to shoulder, hundreds of thousands of people. Wait, what happened? Was I misled? Is this a public health issue? Is this political? That weighed on me. David Dorn, when you say the movement Black Lives Matter, of course Black Lives Matter. We can support that, right? We get behind that, right? But if Black Lives Matter, all Black Lives Matter, and the fact that not every hand went up with David Dorn shows that something's wrong here. Who's David Dorn? David Dorn is a black 77-year-old retired St. Louis police captain who was murdered execution style outside of Lee's Pawn and Jewelry Shop in St. Louis when he tried to stop it from being looted. Where was the news story about him? Where was the outcry about him? Where were the protests about him? That weighs on me a little bit. This ain't fair. All Black Lives Matter, not just when blacks are killed by white officers. All Black Lives Matter. That seemed like an injustice. What about David Dorn? What about David Dorn's family? How about Chaz and Chop? That's fun. You guys know what Chaz and Chop stands for? Chaz, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, when Seattle was taken over for several blocks. Chop, they changed it to Chop. Apparently that's a cooler name. Capitol Hill Occupation Protests or something like that. You've got Seattle overrun by people who want to defund the police. You got rapes going on. Cops can't get in. You got people being murdered. Cops can't get in. You got people that are talking about the overthrow of the government. If that can happen in Seattle, where else can that happen? That's a little scary for me. And then you got their mayor saying that in Seattle, this is going to be the summer of love. It's like a music festival here. Huh? That weighs on me a little bit. What's going on here? But I think of all the things lately that's been weighing on my soul, it's this popularity the last couple weeks of tearing down and defacing statues. You've been following this thing? And I'm never going to condone any of this, okay? Don't get me wrong. But there's a part of me deep down that can understand why somebody takes offense when they see a statue of a Confederate general. I understand that. I get that, because we know what the South was about. We know what the Confederacy was about. Now, that's not all what they were about, but I can certainly, to some degree, understand that a little bit. Now, you can't cancel history. You can't whitewash history. You can't destroy history because you don't like it. But I can at least understand where some of the outcry was about. But this statue? You guys familiar with this one? This is Theodore Roosevelt, one of our presidents, on horseback. And he's flanked by a Native American and a slave. Now, what this statue is supposed to show, this is outside a museum in New York, what this statue is supposed to show is that he is leading these individuals to freedom. He was for equality. He was for Indian protection. He was for the restoration of rights of the natives. That's why they're flanked by him. But you know one of the issues that they have with this statue? a white man is physically higher than a black and an Indian. And Mayor Bill de Blasio is tearing this down. If that's offensive, what isn't offensive? Apparently this is offensive too now. Statues of Abraham Lincoln are coming down. You guys know that name, don't you? The 16th president of the United States, the president who oversaw the emancipation of slavery, allowing black men and women to have the freedom that they so richly deserve. This statue in Boston is being threatened to come down. You know why? Because a black man is bending down at the knees of a white man. And if you read the newspaper, what you hear, one of the complaints about this is the black man is only free because the white man allowed him to be free. What? Everybody has an opinion, I get it, but you're going to tear down a statue because of that? This weighs on my soul. So one of the things that I did, I just want to read this here to you, because as I do, and as I know you do, I pray for guidance, I pray for restoration, I pray for God to give me healing in times of trouble, especially when my soul isn't where it needs to be. Everybody here heard of Archbishop Timothy Dolan, for the most part? Yeah, he's a cardinal now, former Archbishop of Milwaukee. I'm going to read this to you, because this appeared in an op-ed in one of the latest Wall Street journals. Maybe you read it. It's pretty quick, but I loved how he did this from a Christian perspective. Here you go, Archbishop Timothy Dolan. Years ago, I was dedicating a new parish to St. Peter. A woman wrote to protest, "Why would you name a church after such a coward, a sinner who denied even knowing the Lord when Jesus needed him most, at the hour of his arrest and crucifixion?" Knowing her and what parish she was from, I wrote back, "But you're a proud parishioner at St. Mary Magdalene Church." She was sure not a paragon of virtue for a chunk of her life, yet by God's grace, she became a radiant, inspirational saint. If we can't name churches after sinners, the only titles we'd have left would be Jesus and his mother. Isn't the same true of America's historical personalities? All of them had flaws, yet all of them still contributed a lot of good to our nation's progress. Defacing, tearing down, and hiding statues and portraits is today's version of Puritan book burning. Our children need to know their country's past, its normative figures, and their virtues and vices. That's how we learn and pass on our story. Is there any more effective way to comprehend America's history of racism than reading Huckleberry Finn or one of Flannery O'Connor's short stories, works of literature now ominously on the chopping block? My own mom kept a photo of her parents hanging on the wall of our house. Her dad, my grandfather, was an abusive drunk who abandoned his family. I'm glad we got to know of him, the good and the bad. The same is true of the church I love and am honored to serve. Yes, there are scandalous parts of our history, and countless episodes when popes, bishops, priests, and others, including some who are now saints, didn't act as they should have. God forbid we'd go through a cultural revolution as China did 5 decades ago. Beware those who want to purify memories and present a tidy and inaccurate history. And who's to say which statues, portraits, books, and dedications are spared? Remember when some objected to raising the status of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday to a national holiday, citing his self-admitted flaws? If literature that depicts prejudice or words or scenes that are today rightly abhorred is to be banned, I don't know if even the Bible can survive. If we only honor perfect, saintly people of the past, I guess I'm left with only the cross, and some would ban that. As a historian by training, I want to remember the good and the bad and recall with gratitude how even people who have an undeniable dark side can let light prevail and leave the world better. I want to keep bringing classes of school children to view such monuments and to explain to them how even such giants in our history had crimes, unjust acts, and plain poor judgment mixed in with the good we honor. Let's be that good. Let's be a light. Let's make sure that we're not letting this disease, this fear, this anger, this political correctness ruin us. 2 Bible verses, and then I want to share with you a song that I came across that I think really talks about this. So that's the human word. That's fine. That's good. But I don't put faith in the human word. I put faith in the holy word. Here's what the Bible tells us about kindness. Because I feel anger, I should respond with anger. No, I should respond with kindness. I feel hate, I should respond with hate. No, I should respond with kindness. 1 Samuel 20:14. But show me unfailing kindness like the Lord's kindness as long as I live, so that I may not be killed. Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Last one, Proverbs 16, 23, 24. From a wise man comes wise speech. The words of the wise are persuasive. Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. Let's meet hate with kindness. Let's be revolutionary in that regard. Let's love our enemies. Let's love the people that disagree with us. Let our love respond with hate. Let us, with love, counter the hate that's out there. It's a revolutionary concept. It's a revolutionary idea. But I would ask you to join me in being revolutionary.